I used to be the type of person that loved watching movies, TV shows, sitcoms, all that. When I played a video game, like a role-playing video game, I liked it because the story mode. It was kind of like being in the story, right? But I don't know if it's because there's so much happening in real life nowadays when it comes to current events, and it's just so much more interesting than fiction, non-fiction. I forget which was which. I'm an idiot, right? Anyway, and I'm an author too. I have a book, and I forget what it is on top of my head. Anyway, I'm not enamored with fake stories. But the problem with Hollywood, a big problem with Hollywood right now, in my opinion, sequels are cool, right? Sequels are cool. Remakes are cool. Not remakes after like 5 years or something like that. But it's just like the overwhelming abundance of sequels and remakes it just doesn't capture my attention. I mean, for me, it's hard for me to even like sit down for 2 hours even watch a whole movie without being bored. I got attention problems though. So, but my thing is, and maybe I've said this before, so I might be just regurgitating. You might have heard this from me before. I think that they invest so much money in these movies when they really don't even have to anymore. But they invest so much money in these movies that they're afraid to make any type of move outside of the box. Plus, I think like stories, people who write the stories, it's just not as good. The story writing is like trash, and it could be because we don't have the time, the boredom to create stuff, because we have so much entertainment now. It's like there's no dull moments. Anywhere you go, you're sitting in line, you're at the doctor's office, you could just get on your phone and not be bored. And I think that does take away from some people's creativity. But yeah, I think Hollywood is owned by different people now. I think Hollywood's mostly owned by China at this point, and you can see like the propaganda that's pushed in these type of films. It's just I just don't think that creativity is there, really. Or maybe I'm just like out of touch. I don't know, man. It just doesn't keep my attention. I feel like I'm wasting my time. This is part of the reason why I started making music, making my own content with videos, writing a book. Why I started doing all this is because I was playing a video game, and I'm like, I played, like, I like to play sports games. Those are my favorite. But it's like they come out with the same thing every year. It's just slightly tweaked. And then you pay full price. And then if you had invested like real money for micro transactions, you lose everything. and you can't like push it over to the next year at all. And I'm just at to the point where things aren't where I want them to be, technology wise, and when it comes to graphics. Oh man, these graphics are great. The special effects in movies are great. It's just a lack of story writing and somewhat like the games in the day used to be more. There was more of a variety of different games out there, more competition, and they just seem more in depth with things. But man, I also think that, you know what's funny is like I get more entertainment off of TikTok, man, because I think that these people on TikTok are some of the most creative people in the world, and they're just regular people. You see regular people putting out such funny things and original, unique things, and then you look at Hollywood and it's like the same old. And in fact, it's getting worse in Hollywood because you're so you can't say nothing. I don't know. Has anyone? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I don't really follow these celebrities on social media, but I've seen a couple of them. I remember watching, and it was just one TikTok of Tom Cruise that popped up, and it was just like music and then him like showing what he's wearing. Is it just me, or is most of these celebrities uncreative? Like the only thing they can do is just pretend to be somebody else. That's it. They can't come out with anything creative themselves. They're not creative people. They're just mimics. That's all they are. And then, but we're so fascinated with these people, right? Society is so fascinated with, and they want to be like these people. And these people in Hollywood, who, like, if I was a person in Hollywood, I would want a regular partner. I wouldn't want a power couple. I don't understand that. I'd want a regular person to be my wife. But these dudes just want this status, I guess, this ultimate status. That they want this attention. But a lot of these people, they're on drugs, or they drink all the time, or whatever, and they're so out of touch with reality. They come in like trying to tell us like how to live our lives, and they have no idea what we go through. A lot of these rich people are so out of touch with reality. It's unbelievable, because their reality is basically make-believe. It's fake. They don't have to go through the suffering. Man, I couldn't imagine if I didn't have to go do a 10-hour day like I'm about to do right now in the 100-degree heat. I couldn't imagine the content I could come up with, how many videos I can come up with, how much music I could come up with myself. I have so many ideas in my head, I forget about them. And sometimes it's like, sometimes my mind is blank too. Like I can't think of something, but it just comes out of nowhere. Because it's just like, I'm creative. Some people are creative and some people aren't. But it doesn't make me better than anybody. People are better than me at a lot of things. I'm better than them at some things. It's just, it doesn't make me any better. I'm not trying to sit here and say like, oh, I'm so great or anything like that. I'm very humble. Very humble. But it's just amazing that, it would be cool to be able to like work out all day. Like I would be in the gym probably like 4 hours a day. 4 to 5 hours a day if I didn't have to do this working thing. thinking of content in there, funny content, real content, life stuff. I like to play basketball too, so that's something that I try to hit the gym, but it's so hard. Like yesterday, I was wiped out. But these people have everything handed to them. They don't have to take care of their kids. They don't have to cook their food. They don't have to worry about probably even paying their bills. They have people doing all that stuff for them. They don't have to worry about cleaning their house. I couldn't imagine that life. And people complain about these celebrities making so much money, or these sports athletes making so much money. Well, I mean, the reason why they do is because so much attention is put forth there. Like these women who complain that the WNBA are doing the same job as a regular NBA, and so they should get paid the same. But the problem is you're not getting the eyes on the product, so you're not bringing in the revenue. You can't just disregard that because your feelings. If people stop paying attention to Hollywood, if people stop paying attention to sports, what do you think is going to happen? They're not going to make as much. But there's no point to complain about their high salaries if you're going to continue to contribute to it. Buying the merchandise, going to the games, buying the concession stuff, watching it on TV, whatever, man. Like, if people didn't pay attention, it wouldn't bring in the revenue for their salaries to be so inflated. And I think that society's starting to wake up and realize that, like, celebrities, especially in Hollywood, they're out of touch, and they're so entitled and spoiled. We just don't relate to these people at all. Like, when I see a mansion or something like that, like, I used to think it was cool, like MTV Cribs. I thought, oh man, that was, but now, maybe it's because I'm an old man, 42. Maybe I just don't care about that. In fact, when people start talking about the material stuff, I get put off. Like, I don't want to hear, but I don't care. It's not that I'm jealous. It's just, I just don't care. Like, there's so much going on in the world, and people want to talk about their possessions. Like, for instance, people aren't impressed by anything really anymore, right? Because you have the internet. For instance, like, I'm at the gym, right? And I like to do kind of like the professor type of basketball moves, man. I like to showboat. But do you think anybody cares there? No, nobody cares, because it's all over the internet. People can see it. And it's done better than me. But still, like, you don't see many people in the gym just dribbling back and forth behind their back, or walking up the court, dribbling the ball behind their back the whole way. But, like, nobody cares. Like, so what I'm trying to say is, nobody cares about your big fancy car, your big fancy house. We are transitioning into something different. And if you still have this type of boomerist mentality, where keeping up with the Joneses when it comes to material things, you're so far behind that curve. But possibly I'm in front of the curve. So people maybe haven't woken up to this yet, but they're about to very shortly. Yeah, I think that's all I got.